Hey, shalom, Most High Christ bless. My name is Officer Abraham, IUIC Raleigh. So, hey, we have a fire class for you today, and the title of it is Biblical Game of Thrones, the Prelude. Now, hey, this is going to be a series. It's going to be a series of classes, so continue to come towards IUIC Raleigh. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, because it's going to be a series of them. It's going to be a little while. It's going to be a little while. So just stay looking for it. All right. But I want to explain what this series is going to be about. So let's first start off. Give me Job chapter 8, verse 1.
The book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 1.
Then
answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, how long wilt thou speak these things? And how long shall the words of thy mouth be like unto strong wind?
Now, that strong wind, that's talking about the complaints that Job was actually doing, right? So the previous chapter, those of y'all who actually read Job, he went through a lot of stuff. His family, his sons were killed. His wife started to backtalk, saying, curse God. He lost all that he had. And so he started to make his complaint. You see that in the previous chapters, right? So then Bildad, I think it said his name right. Bildad, yes. That's why he said, how long would thy mouth be like a strong wind? And it's talking about the things that he's talking about, the complaints that he's making, right? We getting somewhere with this. Go ahead.
Doth God pervert judgment? Or doth the Almighty pervert justice?
He said, is God unrighteous in what he's doing? Is there any unrighteousness in God? That's what he's actually asking. Go ahead.
If thine children have sinned against him, and have cast them, and he have cast them away for their transgression.
Right, and that right there is how you know what the children were doing in chapter 1 was, in fact, wickedness. We pull that out usually when we're talking about how to celebrate his day, that's his birthday. That right there is proof how you know that what they was doing was not according to what God said that they should be doing. Go ahead.
If thou wouldest seek unto God betimes.
If you would have sought unto God betimes, go ahead.
And make thy supplication to the Almighty.
Right, go ahead.
If thou wert pure and upright,
right,
surely now he would awake for thee and make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous.
Right. So I want y'all to really look at what's being said here. Look at what's being said here. He's making mention, if you were righteous, then God would have came to you. Is God unrighteous in his judgment? He's bringing all of this stuff out. It's supposed to be words so that way Job can examine himself. Likewise, we must do the same, right? Go ahead.
Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase.
So hold that. Go to Exodus chapter 1, verse 5. It says, our beginning was small. That's twofold. Y'all know that Job is the book of it is a parable towards Israel. So let me get something real quick. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 5.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 5.
Go ahead.
And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already.
Right. So 70 souls is where we were back in Exodus, right? And of course we grew and then we made the Exodus, but we was a small nation. We were smaller than any nation, right? Go to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, and we're going to read 6 and 7.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6.
Now, I'm bringing out what the class is going to be about, what the series is going to be about. So that's why we're hitting on these scriptures. Go ahead.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Right.
The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Right.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Right. He said above all people on the face of the earth. Right. Go ahead.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number.
So he said he did not, read that part again.
The Lord did not set his love upon you,
right,
nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people.
Right, read.
For ye were the fewest of all people.
Now go back to Job 8 and 7. He said you were the fewest. He didn't choose you because you were more in number, but because he loved you. But you were the fewest. Watch, go ahead.
Job chapter 8 and verse 7. For though thou beginning was small.
The beginning was small.
Yet thy latter end should greatly increase.
So now you can look at it in this context also. So that's small in number and whatnot, right? But you can also look at that small as going through hard times and trial. He said, though thy beginning was small and you went through a lot of things, and the latter end you will be greatly increased. But how do we get into that part to where we're greatly increased? Read.
For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Go to Hebrews chapter 10, verse 32. Hold that.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, and verse 32.
Inquire of the former age. Inquire of the former age. Go ahead.
But call to remembrance the former days, in which ye were illuminated. Ye endured a great fight of affliction.
So it says, I have to read this from my notes here, right? After we received the kingdom and the promise, we became vile and corrupt, which led us into captivity after captivity. That's how we went. That's that affliction. Watch. Matter of fact, drop that right there. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, start at, and hit verse 7.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
Right. Consider that word. Consider the years of many generations. Go ahead.
Ask thy father, and he will shew thee.
Right.
Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
So you're supposed to be looking inside the scripts, inside the history and whatnot, and look at the examples, both good and bad, to see what and how you can glean from that. Now, again, biblical Game of Thrones, right? How does the title that this class have, Abraham, plays into what you're actually mentioning about examining and so on and so forth? How about this? Before I get to that, I just want to bring you up to speed with that. Go down to verse 15.
Verse 15. But Jeshurun waxed fat.
So now Jeshurun, that's another word for Israel. That's another name for Israel. Go ahead. That's who we're talking about here. Go ahead.
But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked.
Read.
Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Right. So once we got the kingdom, I'm building up to it now. Once we had got the kingdom underneath David, underneath Solomon, right? Once we got it, that waxed fat and kicked, that's when he started to relax, start to sit back and chill, put the feet up and so on and so forth. That's what happened. But then we start to get lazy onto who he was actually supposed to be serving. And a lot of sins start to enter into our land, enter into us, our people. That's what happened. Keep going.
They provoked him to jealousy.
They provoked God to jealousy.
With strange gods.
Okay.
With abominations provoked they him to anger.
Keep going.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to God. To gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
Go to keep going to verse 20.
Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee.
Right. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful and hast forgotten God that formed thee. All of the things that we wound up doing when we were in the land, after we gotten it, right? That's what I'm focusing on. Because you can go many ways with these scriptures here. When we had got the land, we start to forget who actually brought us out of Egypt and got us into the land that we waxed fat and kicked in. Right? Okay. Keep going.
And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them.
He hated what we did and he couldn't stand us for it. Go ahead.
Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
Read.
And he said, I will hide my face from them.
He said, I will hide my face from them. I'm not going to be your protection while you're doing this wickedness. Go ahead.
I will see what their end shall be. For they are very forward generation, children in whom is no faith.
Right. So he said, forward generation and children in whom there is no faith. Now, go back to Job chapter 8. I didn't finish that. I want to go down to verse 13.
Job chapter 8, verse 8.
All of that was inquiring about the former age. A lot of that, what we're just bringing out, is the mistakes that we're going to be touching on within the series. That's why we went there. So we're going to be looking at from roughly the end of Saul, going into David, all the way and through until Zedekiah. That's what the series is going to be about. The Game of Thrones, the going in between, the deceit that they try to do to get the main throne over there in Jerusalem, the split and everything that's going on between there, and the mentality that the kings had while they were in the seat. The things that they was doing, the little secret conversations that they was trying to have. All of that stuff that they did back then, those attitudes and those spirits are inside of us today. But we don't look at it like that sometimes. So we're going to do that. That's what this series is going to be about. Go ahead, read verse 9 now.
Job chapter 8 and verse 9.
Uh-huh.
For we are but of yesterday and know nothing, because our days upon the earth are as a shadow.
Read.
Shall not they teach thee and tell thee and utter words out of their heart?
So shall not the days of old teach you and tell you and utter words out of his heart? Shouldn't it? Go ahead.
Can the rush grow up without the mire?
Read.
Can the flag grow without water?
So it's making a comparison about things that without one, the other can't be. Go ahead.
Whilst it is yet in its greenness and not cut down, it withereth before any other herb.
Read.
So are the paths of all that forget God.
So you can't expect to grow without proper examination of your history. That's what he's saying here. So are the paths of all that forget God. You know how you forget God? When you don't inquire of the former age. That's what it's saying there. Go ahead.
And the hypocrites' hope shall perish.
All right, now, from there, what will be examined? I mentioned it a couple times. I'm mentioning it one more time. What will be examined when looking into our forefathers' merits and demerits? What's going to be examined? So these four things, these are really five and more, but these are big five ones. Speech, conduct, bravery/faith, you can put that in there, mistakes or sin, and triumphs. So let's start with speech. Go to Sirach 27 and 6.
The book of Sirach, chapter 27, in verse 6. The fruit declareth if the
hold. Let me get there. Give me 1 second. Sirach, chapter 27. Go ahead.
The fruit declareth if the tree have been dressed.
Hold that. Go to Matthew 3 and 8.
Sir.
The fruit declareth if the tree have been dressed.
The book of Matthew, chapter 3, and verse 8.
Let's see what it's talking about.
Bring forth, therefore, fruits, meet for repentance.
So bring forth fruit, meet for repentance. Worthy, bring forth fruit that is meant for good change, repentance. Go ahead.
And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father.
Right.
For I say unto you, that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham.
Right. I want you to go to 10.
And now the axe is laid unto the root of the trees.
So I want you to notice that it's making a comparison to, John was talking to the Pharisees, right? But he's making a comparison as those men being trees that have fruit. So he was like, bring forth fruit, meet or worthy for repentance. And then he says, if you don't, the axe is laid to the root of the tree. Go ahead.
And now the axe is laid to the root of the trees.
Go ahead.
Therefore, every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
Now, I wanted to make that comparison so that way you can see. Go back to Sirach chapter 27 and 6.
Sirach chapter 27 and verse 6.
Watch this.
The fruit declareth if the tree have been dressed.
So the fruit declares what kind of man you're looking at, what kind of man you're seeing, you're hearing. Whatever he or she is doing, the way what they're talking, the way they walk, whatever, the actions that they have, that's how you can tell what they are. The fruit declares if the tree has been dressed. Watch this. Go ahead.
So is the utterance of a conceit in the heart of man.
The next verse helps explain that last part. Watch this. Come on.
Praise no man before thou hearest him speak. For this is the trial of men.
Go to Proverbs 12 and 17. It said, praise no man before you hear him speak. Often a mistake, usually because of somebody's status, you'll wind up giving them some kind of accolade that they don't deserve, right? I'm talking generally right here. Usually that's what they do. But you didn't really hear his motives. You didn't really hear her motives behind what, because a lot of people, they say what it is that's inside of them. They bring out who they really are when they talk. That's why I say it's the trial of man. When you praise nobody before you hear them speak. One of the things that's going to be examined when we're looking at the Kings and the Chronicles and whatnot. Go ahead, read that.
Proverbs chapter 12, verse 17. He that speaketh truth sheweth forth righteousness.
Right.
But a false witness, deceit.
But a false witness will speak deceit. Jump down to verse 22.
Verse 22. Lying lips are abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight.
Right. Go to Psalms 101 and 5.
The book of Psalms, chapter 101 and verse 5.
All of this is in regards to speech. Go ahead.
Whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off.
Right. Whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, that's who God's going to kill. So, again, a lot of this stuff, y'all remember these scriptures. I'm pulling them out and I'm going rapid fire with it, right? But remember these scriptures because I'm going to be revisiting them when we go through some of the kings within the Chronicles and some of the prophets inside of there, right? So I want to make note of this before I continue. When you're reading the kings of Israel, like in Samuel all the way up, because technically speaking, when you have, like, I have the 1611, the old English one. I know brothers don't really favor that one. But 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, that would be considered inside there the first book of Kings, second book of Kings. First and second Kings will be considered third and fourth Kings, right? They have books that actually declare those things, right? If you notice, when you read through the history from Samuel all the way until 2 Chronicles, around there, you have to read that similar to like how you would the Gospels. You have to read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you have to precept it within one another in order to get the full understanding of what was going on during that time. Likewise with the Chronicles and the Kings. You have to precept it along with one another in order to see what was going on during that time. There's a bigger gap of time inside of there, yes, but you have to still do the same thing. That's how it works inside of there. Go to Proverbs 25 and 11.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse 11. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver.
Right. Beautiful to behold, beautiful and it's very helpful. Also, nourishing to your spirit. That's what it's talking about. Now, conduct, that was the other thing. 1 Samuel 2 and 3.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 3.
I'm hitting scriptures, but I have some photos and other things that I want to hit. So I gotta get these points out. Because all of these are going to be revisited. These are staples towards the whole series. But I got to hit these. So go ahead. Give me that.
Talk no more so exceeding proud.
Right.
Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth.
Right.
For the Lord is a God of knowledge. And by him, actions are weighed.
So by him, actions are weighed. Your conduct means a lot. The way you deal means a lot. Especially you leaders to the people. The way you deal means a lot. Go ahead to go to Psalms 26 and 2 now.
The book of Psalms, chapter 26 and verse 2. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart.
So try my reins and my heart. Try me, prove me. Prove me that I'm doing what you said I should be doing. That's why we went there. Sirach 19:28.
The book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 28. And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning, yet when he findeth opportunity, he will do evil.
So read that again. Hold on. Let me get it. Because I didn't get there with you. Sirach chapter 19 and verse 28. Read that one more time.
And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning.
So there's some that want power, that want the milestones, the accolades, the glory, the fame that comes with it, whatever, right? But he lacks the power that he wants, because if he does get it, God is kind of keeping them away from that power that he's actually wanting, because if he gets it, he'll wind up falling into sin. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning, yet when he findeth opportunity.
But if he finds the opportunity to get the power that he was hindered from getting, go ahead.
He will do evil.
He will be the devil the Bible speaks of. That's what's going to happen. And there's signs that leads up to, for one, if you're being hindered for something that might not be the path to go. And again, it's best with examples. But I'm going to hit these scriptures early. Go, keep going down. I want all the way to 30.
A man may be known by his look, and one that have understanding by his countenance when thou meetest him.
Remember, the scripture that we read earlier in Sirach chapter, 27. The fruit declareth if the tree had been dressed. Read that again.
A man may be known by his look, and one that have understanding by his countenance when thou meetest him.
When you meet him. Right? You can tell whether this man has understanding or whether he doesn't. What kind of man he is, whether he's violent, somewhat deceitful. You can see some of these things when you meet somebody and then you hear what they're saying to you. Go ahead.
A man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is.
Right. Like, for example, Ahab, that was a weak guy. You can just, when you read about him, that was a very weak man. We can talk about him too. Go to... Where am I at? We was talking about conduct, right? I want to now bravery and faith. I only have one scripture for this one. 1 Chronicles 19 and 13.
The book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 19 and verse 13.
Come on.
Be of good courage, and let us behave ourselves valiantly for our people.
Right.
And for the cities of our God, and let the Lord do that which is good in his sight.
Right. So bravery and faith, that encompasses that right there. Do valiantly for our people, for God, for our families, hell, for our own souls. That right there is what explains bravery. And there's a lot of examples that we're going to touch on with that. But highlight these main points. Go to now mistakes and sin, Proverbs 24:16.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 16.
Come on.
For a just man falleth 7 times,
right,
and riseth up again. But the wicked shall fall into mischief.
Right. So the just man, I'll give you a good one. Manasseh. Manasseh was a just man. He started off wicked as all get out. He started off wicked as hell, forcing the people to go after other gods, so on and so forth. He started off like that. When you read inside of, I think it's 2 Kings 22, 20, it's somewhere up in there. He started off like that. But then when you read inside of the Apocrypha with the prayer of Manasseh, that was all of what him acknowledging what he did wrong, and then he got himself back right. All right? Go to triumphs. Now we're going to talk about that real quick. One script. 1 Samuel 6:13 and 14.
1 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 13. And they of Beth Shemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley.
Right.
And they lifted up their eyes and saw the ark and rejoiced to see it.
Right, because the Philistines had took it. The Philistines took the ark because we were rebellious, right? And then we had the war and fight. Remember this, because we're about to touch on it in a second. We had the war and fight to get the ark back from the Philistines. And once we got it, go ahead.
And the cart came into the field of Joshua, the Bethshemite, and stood there, and there was a great stone. And they clave to the wood of the cart, and offered the kind a burnt offering unto the Lord.
That was 14?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. So that right there was when the ark came back in, and there was a great rejoicing that had happened after that thing. We was very happy for that. Because that is a symbol that the Lord is with us. Because when that ark ain't with us, we get jacked up. Like right now. The ark ain't with us right now, but we're going to get it back. Just give it time. All right, so the characters for this series. I went through all of that. So that's examining the spirits that we're going to wind up dealing with inside of this thing. And now I'm about to touch briefly on a little bit of what y'all going to get for the next class. So I want my first photo. Who are the characters? Who are going to be the characters for this series? Give me my first photo. All right, blow it up a little bit. I want where it says the divided. Well, scroll up a little, just a little. Okay, so, no, a little bit more. I'm sorry, a little bit more. Well, actually, no, that's it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, click, open up again. All right, so yeah, all right, that's it right there. At the very top, it has Solomon's renown and downfall. The chronology of the tribes. Sure, but the divided kingdom from Solomon to the fall of Israel. That's when we get into the nitty gritty. You see Jeroboam, Nadab, Bashar, Elah. I'm not naming all of them. but that's the kings. That's the kings. We're going to be dealing with all of these kings here. And we're going to go, some of them are a little quicker to deal with. Some of them are going to take a little longer. Like I can tell you right now, a longer part of the series is definitely going to be in between David and Solomon and Rehoboam. A lot of it is going to be inside of there, just to be honest with you, and Zedekiah within there. Because you got to remember, they had some captivities that had happened during the Chronicles. Like, for example, the Assyrian captivity started and finished within the book of the Chronicles of the Kings. So there was prophets that was during that time. Tobit was during that time. Nahum was during that time. I think it was Amos or Hosea, one of them two. I forget which one it was. They was doing that time. Then you also, you know what? I'm not gonna ruin it. Go to the next photo. So we're gonna, all of that's gonna be within. These are the characters. Those are the characters that's gonna be within the series. Next photo. All right, so they did have another one that was at the bottom of the other one, but that was the other kings from Judah. There was Asaph, Jehoshaphat, Rehoboam, Abijah. They had the queen Athaliah. That's an interesting one. Joash. So, and then now, these are the rest of them: Hezekiah, Amon, Josiah, Jehoaz. These are the characters that we're gonna be looking at. Now, the dates that y'all see there, rough estimates. That's rough estimates that we're looking at. So don't take it wholeheartedly. It's rough estimates that we're looking at. All right. So now that's the characters. The next thing I want my next photo. So this is what inspired the class. Game of Thrones. Those of y'all who have seen the show, I like the show. There is nudity in it. Okay, skip past it, you'll be all right. And then they have some stuff. That's a very historical show. If you know history, that's a very historical show. So I got inspired and I want to do it like this. The first story arc, read that for me.
The first story arc follows a war of succession among competing claimants for control of the Iron Throne of the Seven Kingdoms.
Go ahead.
With the other noble families fighting for independence from the throne.
So they had other noble families fighting for independence from the throne in the kingdom of the Seven Kingdoms, right? The Iron Throne. They had the War of Succession. All right, so what is this War of Succession? Give me that. War of Succession. S-U, not S-E. That was I think the first link. They had the War of Succession. So during the Game of Thrones, they wanted power and they was fighting each other for that power. But there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes in order for that main guy to get onto the throne. So, all right, War of Succession. Read from the top where it says a war, all the way to where it says court. Let me see. Yeah, to court. No, the powers. Read that first paragraph.
A war of succession is a war prompted by a succession crisis.
So that the succession crisis is when there's somebody who needs to be in the seat, but then there's a fight between, I belong there, no, I belong there. It's one of those things, almost like Family Feud kind of, but a little bit more violent. Go ahead.
In which two or more individuals claim the right of successor.
Right. Now, in the show Game of Thrones, they had these guys named the Baratheons, and they had the Targaryens and so on and so forth. In the scriptures, you're going to see a lot of that with Judah and Israel and the things that they did in between. Go ahead.
To a deceased or deposed monarch.
A deceased or deposed monarch. All right, hover over the word deposed there. Hover your mouse over the word deposed. Read that.
Deposition by political means concerns the removal of a politician or monarch.
Right. Means concerns the removal of a politician or monarch. Right. Go ahead.
It may be done by coup, impeachment, invasion, or forced abdication.
Right. Now, I'm going to tell you, a bit of that happened to David. We're going to get into that in a second. I'm not going to ruin it. A bit of that happened to David with his son Absalom. A bit of that, right? Okay, go ahead.
The term may also refer to official removal of a clergyman, especially a bishop, from ecclesiastical office.
Now, move your mouse. All right, the rivals, read that.
The rivals are typically supported by factions.
So now the rivals are typically supported by factions, right? So here's the funny part. Hold this. This is not in my notes, but go to Isaiah. Don't keep it just like this on the screen. Don't go nowhere. Isaiah chapter 7. Watch this. I'm gonna show you an example. We're gonna go through all of this in depth. Go to Isaiah chapter 7 and verse. Read verse 5. Start at 5.
Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 5. Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against thee, saying.
So now Syria, a heathen nation, Ephraim, a righteous nation, and the son of Remaliah, I believe that also goes right along with I'm forgetting this. I didn't prepare this part inside my notes, but anyways, the point that I'm trying to make, Israel and the heathen nation came together. The kings and whatnot came together to overthrow Judah. Go ahead.
Saying, let us go up against Judah.
See?
And vex it.
Read.
And let us make a breach therein for us.
For us, our allegiance, let's make a breach for us. Go ahead.
And set a king in the midst of it. Even the son of Tabiel.
So now, when you see that, right? Go back to this part inside of the article where it says the rivals are typically. Read that again.
The rivals are typically supported by factions.
So now a faction that could have helped, that Israel was trying to help themselves out with, was Syria in regards to trying to overthrow Judah. We're going to get into that. Go ahead.
Within the royal court.
Go ahead.
Foreign powers sometimes intervene.
So that's foreign powers, right? Go ahead.
Allying themselves with the faction.
Go ahead.
This may widen the war into one between those powers.
So now, I want you to, you see, now it's right below my photo. It's right below where my screen is, where it says the war of succession. Not succession, but war of not to be confused with that part. That's really the next link that I have, but if you click that, it's going to bring you right to where I want to go.
You want me to read that?
Yeah, I want him to click it. Like up there at the top where it says war of succession, SEC. That's really my next link, but if you click that, it's going to bring you right to where I want you to go. All right. So, read, where we at? Let me see. War of Independence. I think it's right there. Let me hear that.
War of Independence. A military attempt by a rebel movement to have a territory break away, secede from a sovereign state to form a new sovereign state in its own right.
So, pause right there. That sounds familiar, right? It says a military attempt. Now these are different. The words sound similar, but one is somebody got deposed, moved out of the way, and now there's a fight for the throne. But then they have this one where there is a rebel movement by a territory that belongs to the kingdom that wants to separate from the main portion of the kingdom. What does that sound like? That's the split. Go to 1 Kings chapter 12. And start at 16.
1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 16.
And we're going to read to 20.
So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them,
right?
And the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David?
So they said, what portion have we in David? This is the war of succession. This is the beginning of that war. Go ahead.
Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse.
So we don't have no parts inside the son of Jesse. Now there's a thought process behind this. There's a thought, and I'm going to get into it. There's a reason why it was easy for them to come up with the decision that they want to split from Judah. We're going to get into that scripture in a second. Keep going.
To your tents, O Israel. Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents.
Read a little faster.
But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them.
So Rehoboam reigned over Judah. And now we're going to get into it. I'm not going to go ahead.
And then Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute.
So now this is one of those things to be like, when you send an ambassador, especially if like of tribute and tax, whatever, that's almost a way of like, are you still a part of us? Because if you do something to me, then that's instant war, right? Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what Israel does to see if they fit. Bring the definition back up. I don't want the definition to go nowhere. It says, let's see if this is an attempt to see if they would try to secede or if they would pay homage to Rehoboam through Adoram. Go ahead.
And all Israel stoned him with stones that he died.
A military attempt by a rebel movement to have a territory break away from a sovereign state to form a new sovereign state in its own right. Keep reading.
Therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem.
Now, you see that Rehoboam was there. They didn't care if he was there at all. They was like, we don't want to be a part of y'all. You didn't want to listen to us? We don't want to be a part of y'all. But it goes deeper than that. It's not just the fact that he says, my pinky finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. It ain't just that. What caused the split goes before that also, because there was some anger pent up inside of Israel because of a decision and some arguments that happened between Judah and Israel. But before we get to there, go to verse 25. We're going to read 25 to 33. I need you to read a little faster.
1 Kings 12, verse 25. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim.
So hold on. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim. Go ahead.
And dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Penuel.
Right.
And Jeroboam said unto in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
So that was something that worried Jeroboam. In his mind, the kingdom already has split. Now, they did split. Let me say not in his mind. They did split. But this was one of those things to where it could have been a reconciling, and then they could have came back together. But Jeroboam was afraid of that happening because, for one, God planned this to happen just the way it was. This was the whole beginning. This was the purpose of the New Testament. But Jeroboam didn't want it to happen because there was reasons that he loved to have them to himself. He wanted to be a king and be apart from the main sovereign state. Go ahead.
If this people go up and do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
Keep going.
Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Right. Behold, these are your gods that brought you up out of the land of Israel. See there? Go ahead.
And he set one in Bethel, and the other he in Dan.
So he set one in Bethel, one in Dan. So he made up his own little spots right there for some temples for their idols. Go ahead.
And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before one, even unto Dan.
Come on.
And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
Right.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah.
Right.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel priests of the high places which he had made.
Come on.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
So this is what happened once they actually had split away from Judah, right? So this is what I want you to do. Press the back button. There's no reason for you to click my links because it's all right here. Press the back button. So just go back one to the War of Succession. Can't do it. All right, yeah. Press the back button. All right, now click down. No, go back at the top where it says Princely Rebellion. Click that. All right, now. The question is, I had wrote this. How did this mindset settle in to where Jeroboam was so easily able to convince most of Northern Kingdom, and I'll say most because it wasn't all of them. Everybody didn't go with him. Most of Northern Kingdom to go his way and not God's way with Southern Kingdom. Okay, Princely Rebellion. I'm showing you how this thing links now. It says, scroll down. Yeah, thank you. Scroll down. I'm sorry. A little up. I wanted enough for polite. All right, Princely Rebellion. Read that right there from the start.
A princely rebellion or princely revolt is an interstate, armed conflict. In transit.
So it's an intrastate armed conflict. It's something within its own. It's almost like a civil war, damn near. But go ahead.
Is an interstate armed conflict by a prince or princess against a reigning monarch of his or her own family.
Now, this is going to come up again. This princely rebellion, remember this definition. Because we're about to use it right now, but we're going to use it later for a queen of Israel. Y'all already know I'm getting at. Come on.
The ruling dynasty. A prince may rebel against a well-established monarch.
A well-established monarch.
Usually his father.
Brother.
Or uncle, or sometimes mother.
Now, I'm going to pause right there, right? Okay. 2 Samuel 15, start at verse 1. So now, a princely rebellion, where they start to go against look, now, this is Game of Thrones. Who's going to get to right to the throne? Who's going to have their own? Jeroboam had found his way towards a throne, right? Okay. Now we're seeing about the main throne, the main sovereign state, when there was a complete kingdom. Let's go back a little bit before the split. 2 Samuel 15 and 1. Let's hit that verse down all the way to 6.
2 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over this people, over Israel.
2 Samuel 15 and...
That's 1 Samuel. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, 2 Samuel. Stay with me now.
Book of 2 Samuel, chapter 15.
Verse 1.
And verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate.
But now I want y'all to remember the definition. A prince may rebel against a well-established monarch, usually his father. Okay, come on.
And it was so that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment.
Came to David for judgment.
Then Absalom called unto him.
So Absalom was like, okay, you come this way, because they already had some level of grievance. This is what Absalom did. Go ahead.
And said, of what city art thou? And he said, thy servant is of one of the tribes of Israel.
All right.
And Absalom said unto him.
Because at the time, the reason why he had to ask that is because when we were ruling, we was over not just ourselves. We were on top of the planet at this time. We were ruling. So he said, what city are you from? But then he was like, the tribes of Israel. So they had to make that kinship, that relationship there. Because there were other nations, we're going to get into that, the little markets that we had around. There were other nations that also served us. Come on, outside of who we had the war with. Go ahead.
And Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right. But there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee.
Read.
Absalom said, moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land.
Come on.
And that every man which had any suit or cause came unto me, and I would do him justice.
There was conversation in between here now, because Absalom was dealing with this guy, right? And then he he slicked his way right inside of this man's heart. And it's like, man, if I was the guy to actually render judgment, that all of what your problems are that you had the grievance against David with, it would have been solved already. So now the man, he's starting to lean more towards Absalom's side. Notice the beginning of the rebellion. Go ahead.
And it was so that when any man came nigh unto him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him.
Right.
And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment.
So now, watch this. No, finish that off.
So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel.
Jump down to verse 13 and 14. Now, I want to get this on purpose. So that was Absalom. He slicked his way inside of a lot of people's hearts. It stole a lot of their hearts. People that was supposed to be for the original monarch, David. And so it got so bad to the point this happened. Go ahead. 13 and 14.
Verse 13. And there came a messenger to David saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom.
They love Absalom more than you right now, David. Go ahead.
And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise, let us flee, for we shall not escape. For we shall not else escape from Absalom.
So we should not escape. Absalom got a big influence right now. We can't escape from this man right now. Let's run. Go ahead.
Make speed and depart, lest he overtake us suddenly and bring evil upon us.
Read.
And smite the city with the edge of the sword.
Now, it says, now he's going to smite the city and he's going to kill us. We need to run and flee. So now David and his men are on the run, right? David and his men are on the run. Enlarge my screen again. You can enlarge my screen again. David and his men are on the run. So jump from there. Now go to 2 Samuel 18 and 9.
2 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 9.
I'm gonna speed through the rest of this. Now, I'm gonna help you out with some of the history here, and we're gonna go over it in detail later. But I want you to remember these parts because it's gonna be pivotal for the rest of the series. Joab killed Absalom at this time, right? Joab killed Absalom because Absalom was riding on a mule, and then his head got caught in between an oak, and so he was hanging above. He was hanging. Right? He was still alive, though, when he went through thick bushes and whatnot. Joab killed him. Watch this. 2 Samuel 18 and 9.
And Absalom met the servant of David. And Absalom rode upon a mule. And the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak. And his head caught hold of the oak. And he was taken up between the heaven and the earth. And the mule that was under him went away.
So now the mule went away, and so he was caught up and he was hanging just there. And then Joab killed him. So this is why I bring that out. Go to chapter, same book, chapter 19, verse 7.
2 Samuel chapter 19 and verse 7.
Now, verse 1 to 6, David was crying and he was sad about his son Absalom, who was killed. Now, David knew that it was Joab that did it, which he's going to get to why he told Solomon to kill him later. We ain't going to get into that yet. Game of Thrones. So, verse 7, watch what Joab tells him. Go ahead.
Now therefore, arise, go forth and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one of thee this night, one with thee this night. And that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth until now.
Now I want you to read from verse 8 to 15 as well, because that's going to be the main part that I want inside of why or what happened. Go ahead.
Then the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told unto all the people, saying, Behold, the king doth sit in the gate. And all the people came forth before the king, for Israel had fled every man to his tent.
So Israel fled every man to his tent. Come on.
And all the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, The king saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hand of the Philistines.
Pause. Now, if you remember, we had read earlier inside of, I think it was 1 or 2 Samuel 6, where we had got the ark from the Philistines. Read that early on purpose, because that was about when we was going under triumphs. So we had got there, and he had saved us away from the Philistines. Israel went to him first. Notice, Israel went to him first. Israel went to him first, and they wanted him back. Right? Go ahead.
And now he is fled out of the land for Absalom.
Because David was on the run. Go ahead.
And Absalom, whom we appointed over us, is dead in battle.
Go ahead.
Now therefore, why speak ye not a word of bringing the king back?
So now they said Absalom, whom we anointed over us, they was part of the ones who got stolen. Their hearts got stolen by Absalom. But now that he's dead, they're like, I guess we're going to go back to David. No, remember that part also. That plays a part inside of the mindset. They're like, we're going to go back to David. And so Israel went first towards getting David back. But watch this. Keep going.
And King David sent to Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, saying, Speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, Why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house? Seeing the speech of all Israel is come to the king, even to his house.
So why are you the last? You're supposed to have been the first, Judah. You say you're supposed to have been the first to come and do this, but you have the other of our tribes going first to do that, even though he belongs in the land where you at. Go ahead.
Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh.
Read a little faster.
Wherefore then are ye the last to bring the king back? And say ye to Amasa, Art thou not of my bone and of my flesh? God do so to me and more also, if thou be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word unto the king, Return thou and all thy servants. So the king returned and came to Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to go meet the king and conduct the king over Jordan.
Right. So now they had got the king back, right? Okay, good. They had got the king back. Jump to verse 41 and 43.
2 Samuel chapter 19, verse 41. And behold, all the kings of all the men of Israel came to the king and said unto the king.
Because Judah got him back now, right? But Israel went there first. Remember that. But Israel also, some of Judah too, Israel also was the ones who got their hearts stolen by Absalom. So now, watch this. Come on.
Why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen thee away, and have brought the king and his household and all David's men with him over Jordan?
Here's where the argument begins, and some anger and some grievances with Israel happened with Judah. Think about why they got pissed over there in 1 Kings chapter 12. This plays a part. Come on.
And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, because the king is near of kin to us.
Right.
Wherefore then be ye angry for this matter.
Why are you angry for this? Come on.
Have we eaten at all the king's cost? Or have he given us any gift?
Right. Has this been for naught? Have we given us any gift? Was this in vain? No. He's supposed to be here by scripture. He belongs on our tribe, and he comes from our tribe as well. Go ahead.
And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, we have 10 parts in the king.
So now they were striding with Judah, talking about, we have even more parts with the king than you do. Go ahead.
And we have also more right in David than ye.
Go ahead.
Why then do ye despise us?
So why do you hate us? Why you despise us by taking the king away from us? Now remember, they was the main ones that got their hearts stolen by Absalom. Now watch this what Judah did. Go ahead.
That our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king.
Because they were first that tried to come and get him. So they thought their advice should also be first, along with the fact that they had more people and tribes in the nation. Go ahead.
And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel.
So they had fiercer words, and that grieved and upset and pissed off Israel. So when you think about why they was so willing to split, they thought back, oh, so you couldn't give us David back then. Well, then now when we have a king under Jeroboam, we don't want to hear nothing. So even when Rehoboam come, we'll stone him along with Adoram. Game of Thrones. They trying to do that just like that. So spirits that you see in that. That's just a little taste, an example of what we're going to go through, right? Let's fly through these last scriptures, and then I'm almost done. Get my last photo with the partridge ready. Don't pull it up yet, though. Spirits that you see within the examples that I just pulled. This is how we know. Envy. James 4 and 5. Give me that.
The book of James, chapter 4 and verse 5. Do ye think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy?
The spirit that dwells in us lusts to envy. It lusts to envy. Deceit, Sirach 11:29.
The book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 29.
Because they had envy inside of the nation of Israel. They had envy inside of the nation of Israel over the fact that they couldn't have right to King David. So that envy brought grudge, brought anger, because you saw it says, why are you angry? Brought anger, and then eventually it brought separation, the split. Sirach 11:29, we're going to read down to 34.
Bring not every man into thine house.
Don't bring it. Now listen, I'm going with this one to Absalom, right? Now that was David's son. However, you can know a child based off of from their youth. This part, you like, bring not every man into your house. Go ahead.
For the deceitful man hath many trains.
Now that was a deceit. Absalom was a deceitful guy. Deceitful man. He has a lot of ways of how he can go about his deceit. That's the many trains. Go ahead.
Like as a partridge taken and kept in a cage.
So now, like as a partridge is taken and kept in a cage, go ahead.
So is the heart of the proud. And like a spy.
Hold on. Let's dig on that for just one quick second. Give me my photo. Give my photo with the partridge. Because you might come across that and be like, what is that talking about? Like a partridge in a cage. How does that compare to a spy? What are you talking about? Let's see that. So here we go. Our partridge is good pets. So I'm gonna wind up sending it. It's gonna be a part of the video. Now it says, no partridges do not make good house pets. They are wild birds and are normally quite flighty and fearful of humans. As game birds, in most places, it is illegal to own one as a pet. So, these birds are wild as hell. And when you try to catch one and put it, and you do put it in the cage, it will fight inside that cage like all get out. And it's trying to break out of there. But after a while, it'll get patient and then look at you and wait on you to die so it can escape. Read that scripture again.
Bring not every man into thine house.
Now I want verse 30.
Verse 30. Like as a partridge taken and kept in a cage.
Go ahead. That wild bird.
So is the heart of the proud.
So the mind of a proud man is racing and bouncing off of his head, trying to contain himself on how he really wants to feel. Go ahead.
And like as a spy.
Now it's comparing that wild nature of a partridge in a cage to a spy. Go ahead.
Watcheth he for thy fall.
Absalom. Go ahead.
For he lieth in wait and turneth good into evil.
He turneth good. What could have been good judgment for the people, he turned it as evil and doing a princely rebellion. Go ahead.
And in things worthy of praise will lay blame upon thee.
Go ahead.
Of a spark of fire, a heap of coals is kindled.
Read.
And a sinful man layeth wait for blood.
Read. All of this that we just read earlier, you see it right here. Go ahead.
Take heed of a mischievous man.
Take heed of a mischievous man.
For he worketh wickedness, lest he bring upon thee a perpetual blot.
Yep, and that's what he did with the concubines. Go ahead.
Receive a stranger in thine house.
Read.
And he will disturb thee.
He will disturb thee.
And turn thee out of thy own.
Made David run away. So, anger. We have anger, emulation, and then we're gonna close it out. Anger. Proverbs 27:4.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 4. Wrath is cruel.
Wrath is cruel.
And anger is outrageous.
Anger is absolutely outrageous.
But who is able to stand before envy?
So you see all of these same things, they're all linked together. And all of these things you found inside some of the history that we was touching on. That's what you saw inside of there. Jeroboam also was inside there. Envy was in the midst of that. And then they also had a big one, emulation. Galatians 5:20. They wanted to be just like Southern Kingdom, but they couldn't have it. That's why they were so eager to get Absalom in the seat. But then once he died by Joab, they was like, okay, let's bring back David. Nope. We have more right to David than you do. No, you don't. That's what was going on. Game of Thrones. They was trying to get who's going to get the throne? Who's going to sit on the seat? That's what they wanted. Go ahead.
You read on?
Galatians 5:20.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 20. Idolatry, witchcraft.
So now let's go up to see what this is talking about.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest.
Right.
Which are these?
These are the works of the flesh.
Adultery.
Right.
Fornication. Uncleanness. Lasciviousness. Idolatry.
Idolatry.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. That was definitely going on. Go ahead.
Hatred.
Hatred. That was one of them. I didn't put that in there. Go ahead.
Variance. Emulation.
Emulations. It's good to covet righteous gifts, to copy after a righteous. But when you try to emulate, you want to copy in the terms to do better and overthrow. That's what Israel was doing. Emulations. You can finish the verse out.
Wrath. Strife. Seditions. Heresy.
Hey, sedition was another thing. That was the princely rebellion. All right. So, Israel, hey, I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. More to come. This is just the prelude, but stay tuned for the next one. I'm not gonna tell you the title yet, but we're gonna get into it, and it's gonna be a very lengthy series. And I'm still crafting it out as I'm teaching it to you. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you tune in. Subscribe, IUIC Raleigh. Most High Christ bless. Shalom.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family.